Welcome to your practice. Welcome to your body. Welcome to your breath. As always, make sure you're following your pain-free range of motion. You're following your body. You're following the messages that it's giving you. So if something feels like it's shooting pain, if something feels tingling or numb, if there's burning or aching, just come out of the pose a little bit, reset. Maybe don't go as deep, maybe try another variation. I try to teach in a stepwise motion. If you're feeling dizzy or lightheaded, make sure you take a rest. So either child's pose, but doesn't really matter. Could be puppy pose, could be lying on the floor pose, sleeping snake. And then on the same note, just as we're listening to our body to make sure we are not moving into pain, into the discomfort that is not creating more, we also want to move with our body if it feels a little spunky, if it wants more challenge, if it wants to try something new. And the nice thing about being at home is that there's not really anyone watching you. So if you fall, it's fun. We can be curious together. So as you sit here, feel the layers of your body settle. Feel everything drop into the room, drop into your field. Feel the physical body, all five senses, the earth underneath you, the air around you, the soft light behind your eyes, behind your eyelids. Sounds, either close or distant. We start to turn into the internal environment. Seeing our thoughts as an observer, but letting them settle into the background. Soft clouds passing through the sky. Feel the activity and the feelings of this morning settle down like snow in a snow globe as you continue to come back to breath and body. My theme this week is hope. And I posted that nice quote from Nelson Mandela that to make choices from a place of hope and not fear. To move towards lightness. Keeping this in mind, we'll bring this onto our mat. And just a small exercise before we start moving. in your mind's eye, so that we're moving towards this light, this joy, this hope. You're going to bring into mind a picture, an image of yourself after class. Your glowing self. Tune into the sensations of your body. The level of vibration within. Tune into what your face looks like. The smile, the sparkle in your eyes. Tune into what your body feels like. This you after class, feeling long and strong, fully massaged from the inside out, ready to walk out into the world. So when things get tricky through class, come back to this vision, or even when things aren't tricky, we'll keep coming back to this as it fuels us, as it helps us make the choices on our mat. Slowly open the eyes. And 3 times, we're just going to sweep our arms up and around, stretch, and exhale, hands down through the center towards the heart, thumbs to the heart center. 2 more. Take up lots of space, you've got it. Following breath. Inhale, we expand and reach out. Exhale, we come to our center. Bow to yourself. Maybe you set your own intention for the class. And then we're going to right away roll over onto hands and knees. Take any props you needed out off the side. Set the hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips. And for as many breaths as you need, we're going to start going through cats and cows. So in cow, we're inhaling, opening the front body. In cat, we're exhaling, opening the back body. So if you need to add any movements to this, go for it. You could start to go laterally. You could start to do rolls with your pelvis. You could bend the elbows. Just do whatever your body's asking for this morning. Trust that awareness as we start to wake up bit by bit. So we've got about 2 more rounds of breath to get in whatever your spine needs to wake up here. Don't worry, it's progressive. We will keep waking up. And then come back to a neutral position. Come down onto the elbows, and we're gonna wake up the hips. So pick that left leg up off the floor, keep that left knee bent, and just do 4 really big circles with that left knee, moving from the root of the hip joint there. Imagine you have a paintbrush on that knee and you're painting a huge Zen circle beside you, and then other direction 4 ways, 4 times. I swear I had my coffee this morning. All right. And then once that's done, switch sides. Right leg reaches up. 4 circles in one direction. Keep breathing. Take this as an exploration. Be curious about what's going on in there. Be exploratory. See how many muscles you can recruit around the hip to make these circles, how big you can make them. And then release that. Nice. We're going to plant the hands back under the shoulders and come up into a downward facing dog. So you can stay here in down dog. If this gets too much, you can always do this next one on hands and knees too. You're going to reach that left leg up to the sky again. And this time, bend both knees, nestle that left knee behind the right, and then inhale, reach it up. Make it a morning stretch. So 4 more of those. When you're reaching, really emphasize pushing the heel away. Nice. 2 more. And after that last one, we're going to release that leg, come back down onto the elbows. This time either staying on the knees or walking those knees back and coming up off the knees on the toes. We hold our first forearm plank. So we draw everything in towards the midline. I know, right away, right into the core. Draw those ribs down towards the pelvis. Draw that lower abdomen in. And relax your face. Relax the back of your heart. Just a little reset. Release those knees down, come back up onto hands and knees. So as I mentioned, if the down dog is too much, you could always do it from hands and knees as well, this pumping motion. Because really the emphasis is on that stretch. We're going to go to the right leg now. So from down dog, lifting that right leg up. And then as you inhale, you nestle that right knee behind the left, bend both. As you exhale, reach it out. Beautiful. 4 more. Use it as that morning stretch. Find length from the fingertips all the way out through that heel. Last one. Beautiful. Release that foot down, come back down onto elbows and knees. And again, you can stay on the knees, you can come on the toes. This time we're going to twist out our plank a little bit. So to get into the side body, we're going to dip those hips over to the right, arc up through the center and to the left. As we're doing this, yes, it's a core exercise, but we're also starting to feel a little bit of stretch to the side, a little bit of activation of those twisting motions. Beautiful. You'll do 4 more twists. And again, it could be done on knees as well. Everything's still drawing into the center. Once that's all done, plant the hands, curl the toes under, and come into a downward dog. In this dog, you can start to pedal the legs as in any way you want. You could wiggle the hips. You could bend the knees. Just make it your dog. As long as the hips are reaching back and every single finger, every single knuckle is planted into the earth. Beautiful. And then slowly start to walk up to the front of the mat. Bend the knees as much as needed for your first forward fold and just let that head hang. Shake it no, nod it yes. And then slowly make your way all the way up to standing. Lovely. Take a moment here, mountain pose, to feel the changes in your body already. And then we're going to inhale, reach the arms up. And exhale, dive forward again, bending at the knees as much as needed. Do that 2 more times, coming all the way up. And exhaling all the way down. Last one. Initiating our standing practice and fold forward. Hands come to shins or thighs. We press up halfway and lengthen the spine and release. 2 more of those. So Ardha Uttanasana, we lift that heart up and forward and release down. Deciding if we can start to press those sit bones out behind us and up a little bit more, straightening out the legs. Plant the hands on the mat, step back to a plank. So plank can be on hands and toes, it can be on elbows and knees, anywhere in between. We just want to make sure that the head and neck are in line with the spine. They're not looking forward or looking down at the belly button, just straight onto the mat. Our face is soft, our jaw is released, the eyebrows aren't furrowing, our arms are strong pillars. Every single finger, every single knuckle is buried into the earth, but that space behind the heart is soft. The ribs are drawing down towards the pelvis, the lower abdomen is drawing up, the thighs are hugging onto the femur bone, and the heels are pressing back, activating the lower legs and the toes. I know, and then we drop the knees. So now it's 5 times of our shoulder flow. Shoulder flow is exhaling, drawing those hips back towards the heels, and inhaling, dragging the nose forward along the mat till it gets towards the thumbs and pressing back up to hands and knees. So we keep the hips high as we drag forward, and we kind of feel that nice little nestling of the humerus into the shoulder socket as we come forward, just waking up all those upper back and shoulder muscles and getting a nice stretch too while we're at it. 2 more of those on your own breath, exhaling, coming back, and inhaling, coming forward. Once you're done that, you'll find your way all the way down on your abdomen on the mat. Flip the tops of the feet over, hands come under the shoulders, roll the shoulders back, and then pick the hands up off the floor. We're going to inhale, lift into a baby cobra, and exhale, come down. So 4 more of those. Inhale up and exhale down. Keep the tops of the feet planted in the earth and lift forward and up. See how many muscles you can recruit along the back body. For this last one, we hold it up here. We roll the shoulders back. We expose the collarbones. We press the top of the head forward and the toes back. And smile. Hands to the earth. Recovery pose. So that could be your down dog. That could be a puppy pose with the knees on the floor, hips high, or it could be a child's pose. Whatever calls to you. Feeling a little more awake through the body. We look up to the front of the mat. We come into our down dog if not already. And we step, walk, or hop forward and fold. Inhale, come all the way up to standing, reaching tall. And exhale, fold forward. Hands to shins or thighs, 3 times. Ardha Uttanasana. Each time seeing if you can press that heart further forward. Press all 4 corners of the feet deeper into the earth. and lift those sit bones up like you have a zipper at the back of the leg, drawing them up, stretching out the back body. Hands, fingertips plant on the earth, and we're going to step that right leg back behind us. Nice. So we're just going to activate that right leg and get into the hip flexor here. Draw the left hip back so that we're not opening up to the right. And then we're going to bend that right knee to almost the earth. This is where blocks or cans might come in handy if you feel like the earth is too far away. So do it again. Bend to almost the earth and then press it back. See if you can keep that front leg stable where it is. Each time you press it back, go a little further. Press out through the heel 2 more times. Nice. And then either with that knee off the ground, or it could drop on the ground, we press ourselves up into a lunge position. Bring the hands to the hips, to the heart, or maybe behind the back of the head as you press the head into the hands and start to open up, keeping those legs stable for 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Release the fingertips to the earth. Everybody drop that back knee, and we're going to shift the hips back into a nice hamstring stretch, into half splits pose. I think it's a little bit less than half splits, but Ardha Hanumanasana. Draw those toes back towards you, and then pull that left hip back in line with the right, almost like you're dragging the left heel towards you on the mat. You'll feel some intensity through the back of that left leg. We get long through the spine and maybe fold a little deeper. If you want to make this more interesting, you can take both hands on the outside edge of that left leg and walk them away diagonally. Nice. And then back to center, shift into that front foot, plant the hands, step back to your version of plank, whatever that means. Drop the knees, 3 times shoulder flow again. Hips come back, inhale, and we drag forward. Use your own breath. How much grace can you use through this movement? Can you imagine your spine opening in your mind's eye, your shoulders? And once you're done all those, come back down onto the abdomen. This time hands stay on the earth. So either under the shoulders or closer towards the ribs. Elbows hug in, collarbones widen, tops of the feet plant onto the earth. And we inhale and pull ourselves up, maybe a little bit deeper than before, and exhale down, 4 more of those. This time activating the triceps a little bit as you press into the fingers, into the knuckles as you come up. Move with your breath. And if there's any compression in one part of the back, then come a little bit less deep and go for more length. After that last one, hold it up here. And you can press into the hands as much as you need to, as long as the neck stays long, the collarbones stay open, the shoulders stay at the back, and we don't feel like we're pinching anything. And come all the way down. Curl the toes under, recovery pose, child's down dog, or puppy. Beautiful. So a little bit of challenge here, either from hands and knees, coming in and out, or from down dog. We're gonna lift that right leg up. And as we exhale, right knee comes in towards the nose. As we shift forward, if we're in down dog, if we're on hands and knees, it just comes forward towards the nose. And inhale, reach it back. 2 more of those. Exhale in, inhale, reach. Last one, curl it in, draw that belly button up, reach it out. And then that right leg is going to step between the hands, 1, 2, or many steps to get there, so that we come into our lunge pose on this side. We draw that right hip crease back, we strengthen up that back leg, and then we start to bend it. So we bend that back knee to almost the earth, and then press it back. We bend, and then we hug the muscle to bone as we press it back. Beautiful. Move slowly, and again, use it as an exploration. Nice. 1 more of those. And then with the hands on the front thigh, back knee on the ground or off the ground, we press ourselves up into a lunge. We could stay here, hands at hips, hands at heart, or hands behind the head as we lean back and we hold it there. Stable lower body, open upper body for 3, 2, 1. Bring the fingertips to the earth, back knee comes down, and we shift those hips back as we straighten that right leg. So half splits, Ardha Hanumanasana again. We pull back on that right heel to square those hips off. We get long through the upper body, and then maybe melt over that leg a little more. Nice. Maybe you want to make it more interesting and bring both hands on the outer edge of that right leg. Maybe they want to walk diagonally away from you. And then back to center. Bend through the front knee. Pick up that back knee. And it might take more than 1 step, but we come forward into a forward fold. Release down. Make sure the feet are parallel. Bend the knees nice and deep, like you're sitting back into a chair, because surprise, it's chair pose. Let those hips sink back and down. Lots of weight in the heels. Hands just come to the heart to begin with. Make sure we're still tuned into the core, so the ribs are drawing down, the lower abdomen is active. And then we'll get a little bit of heat going if you want to. Bring the arms out in front of you. As we exhale, we bend a little deeper and bring the arms back like wings. And then as we inhale, we draw them up. Maybe you go a little bit faster. Maybe you exaggerate that breath. For 3, for 2, and 1. All the way up, stand tall, exhale, fold forward, and release. Hands to shins or thighs, look up halfway, lengthen the body, and then fingertips to the earth. And we step the left leg back this time. We're in our lunge again. Maybe you bring that back knee down, maybe it stays up. Left arm walks to the left a little, right hand comes to the sacrum and we lean. Back leg is strong if it's off the ground. Muscle hugging to bone. You could stay here, you could reach that right arm up, or you could start to explore that shoulder and make 3 big circles in each direction here. Keep the left shoulder blade on the back. And if the head and the neck feel strained and awkward, just let it go, reset, and find somewhere more natural to hold them. Once you're done 3 circles in one direction, you can go the other direction. Beautiful. And then back to center. And then this time, you could go back to that hamstring, Ardha Hanuman, or you can keep that back knee off the earth and come into a modified pyramid pose by straightening the front leg. So whichever one feels like you can access a good productive stretch more. If here you're working too much on reaching the floor or holding your balance, it might be worth it to go back to Ardha Hanuman and just really work on drawing that heart further forward. So in modified pyramid, we're still drawing that right hip back, but all 4 corners of that front foot are planted into the earth. And we're still working on trying to draw the heart forward and then melt. Every inhalation in either pose lengthens you. Every exhalation softens you. Beautiful. Bend that front knee, plant the hands, plank pose. This time you can either come down onto your knees or stay on your toes, bending the elbows behind you, coming all the way down to the earth. Lovely. You get to choose the cobra that you come into. So it could be a baby cobra still, with the tops of the feet planted and that heart drawing forward. But my bottom ribs are usually still on the ground at this point, collarbone wide. If you want to press a little bit more into it, maybe the ribs come off the ground, but my collarbone is still wide, my neck is still free. Maybe you come into a teenage cobra, maybe an adult cobra. They're all good. And then release and come into your recovery pose. Now, if you remember, we did a core exercise on the right last time. This time we do it on the left. So either in down dog or on hands and knees, you draw that left heel up behind you. And then as we exhale, we draw the knee in. We inhale, reach, and we exhale, draw it in. Each time, seeing if you can even further curve that back up towards the sky, belly button drawing in. Last time we reach it out. And then that left foot steps between the hands. And we reset for our lunge pose. So with the back knee up or down, we walk the right hand towards the right, left hand to the pelvis, and lean into the right hand as you twist. If the back knee's off the ground, power up that back leg. Maybe the left arm comes up to the sky. Maybe we explore its range of motion, making big circles here. Nice. 3 in each direction. Being curious about where we feel catches, about that line between discomfort that leads to growth and the unproductive discomfort. Come back to center. Set those fingertips, either come into half splits again, or keep that back knee off the ground, modified pyramid pose, straightening that front leg, pressing into all 4 corners of that front foot, especially the big toe mound. Draw that left hip back. And then from that stable base, we can see if we can draw our heart forward more. Exhale, we melt. Every inhalation lengthens the spine. Every exhalation, we melt a little bit deeper. bend the front knee. 1, 2, or many steps to step forward, forward fold, and release. Second set of chair pose, Utkatasana. Drop those hips back, lots of weight in the heels, hands to the heart. Maybe hands out front. Maybe if you can keep the collarbones wide, the neck free, and the shoulders on the back, the thumbs can start drawing an arc up. But they stop where they stop. And we try not to hunch or close off our heart just because our arms are reaching. The core is still strong for 3. The feet are planted for 2. The jaw is soft for 1. And we inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, fold. Look up, halfway lengthen. Nice work. Exhale, fingertips to the earth. Right leg steps back. This time that right heel spins down so that we can come into our warrior 2. We keep that front knee bent and we come all the way up. Hands to hips for a moment as we reset. We come out of the pose a little so that we can strengthen that back leg, really pressing into the outer edge of that right foot. And then we bend a little bit more through the left knee. Make sure the left knee isn't falling in towards the center. We're using our strong glutes to push it out towards the left. And then arms come out like wings. Beautiful. From that solid, stable foundation, let's get some movement in our upper body, what I call the seaweed arms. Bend the elbows slightly. As we inhale, we're going to reach forward, keeping both sides of the waist nice and long. And as we exhale, we reach back. And we can rotate the arms and the shoulder sockets. Find some movement in the waist, in the ribs. Nice. Next time you're reaching forward, stay reaching forward. Left hand can come to the hip. Right hand. Left hip is coming back, back, back. Left knee is still bending. And then when you're ready, elbow can come to thigh or hand to the earth for a side angle pose. Top arm can come up or reach towards the front of your mat. Let those hips melt down, but keep the legs strong and stable. Both sides of the waist are trying to get as long as possible. If the head and neck feel weird, look down, reset, and then find a neutral position. Maybe it's even looking up to the sky. I know it's a long one. 3, 2, 1. Release the hands down. Optional flow here, where you can just meet us in a down dog, puppy, or child's. So you might flow up into your heart opener and then back into recovery. You're doing awesome. So from wherever you are, right foot will step between the hands. Left knee off the ground, left heel spins to the earth, and we come up on the other side for our warrior 2. Hands on the hips, come out of the pose a little bit, strengthen up that back leg. It likes to start melting in. We really want to press out through the outer edge of that back foot. And then bend through that front knee. Good. Bring the arms out like wings. Just coming in. Awesome. Keep pressing that right knee towards the right and out through the knife edge of that left foot. And then we loosen the arms a little, bend the elbows, and come into our seaweed flow. So from that stable foundation, we're tapping into the core. We're finding some movement through the ribs, through the spine, through the shoulders. One more time in each direction. And then start reaching forward, forward, forward. Left hand can come to the hip. Right hip is coming back. We're lengthening as much as we can. Feel that back leg power up. And then elbow to the thigh or hand to the earth. Top arm can stay there, or it can reach up, or it can reach over. Wherever you feel like you are getting the most out of the pose. Are you gritting your teeth? Are you holding your breath? If so, reset and try again. Maybe you close your eyes and come back to that image of yourself after class, feeling all these muscles lit up. Beautiful. For 2, 1. And then bring the fingers onto the earth, turn towards that right foot, and step forward into a forward fold. Last set of chair. I know it's the last thing you want right now. Bend the knees nice and deep, sit those hips back, lots of weight in the heels, hands to the heart, hands out front, or reaching up for 4. Make sure you can see your toes a little bit beyond your knees. 3, soften the face. 2, keep breathing. 1, sit a little deeper and come all the way up. Exhale, fold forward. Does it ever end? It does. It does. That's the answer. We're doing a little bit of an interlude here in our forward fold. If the low back doesn't like forward folds too much, you have a couple options. You might have your props nearby to bring the floor closer. If you don't have props, you do this from downward dog. If it's still too much, you do it from elbows and knees. There's always a way. So we're going to lift that right heel up, up, up towards the sky. Standing splits. Lift it up even more. Maybe you start to dive deeper towards that left leg. From this position, you'll see if those right toes are turning out. See if you can spin them down towards the floor. Beautiful. And now, as we started the class, we're going to do that water pumping position again. We're going to bend both knees, nestle the right knee behind the left. Inhale, reach it up. 3 more. We got this. Think of how great those legs are going to feel. And 1 more. Beautiful. Release that right leg. Bend the knees, wiggle it out. Maybe you have to come up. Do whatever you need to reset. And then we come down again, forward fold. Left heel leads as it sweeps up behind us. Maybe you can start to bend the elbows. Maybe walk yourself closer to that leg. Close your eyes and imagine yourself in standing splits. We all know what it could look like. Let's see us there. Make sure those left toes are pointing down towards the earth. And now the water pump. Bend both knees, nestle the left knee behind the right. Inhale, reach it out. Exhale, curl it in. Inhale, reach it out. Beautiful. 2 more. Last one. Nice. Release the feet down. And bend the knees a little bit and let your upper body hang. Hands to shins or thighs. Look up halfway, lengthen. Exhale, fold, fingertips to the earth, left leg steps back, left knee comes to the ground. We take a breath. Both hands come to the inside edge of that right foot. Walk that left knee back as far as you can. If it's uncomfortable, you can put your cushion, your padding underneath it. And then we start to melt the heart. So it might just be even a sigh down. Release the head and the neck. Maybe the elbows start to bend. Maybe one elbow can come to the earth, maybe both. If you have props, maybe they come to the props. And we release the head and the neck. We hold here in lizard pose. Feeling all 360 degrees of that hip joint. Seeing if you can use your breath to soften the attachments, to bring blood flow, to wake it up. If you feel like you're holding your breath or gripping somewhere, again, we come out a little, we reset. And maybe we don't go as far. Maybe we can go back. Just to tell the body we were listening. And then slowly come out of that. We can come into our plank. We can come into our recovery pose. We can go into an optional flow, coming down to the earth, coming up through a heart opener, and then back to recovery, down dog, puppy or child's. And then we got one last leg of the journey. Left foot steps between the hands. Right knee comes to the earth behind us. Both hands come to the inside edge of that left foot. And then we sigh the heart down. We let go of the head and the neck. Maybe we start to bend the elbows. Maybe they come to the earth or a block or any other props. Send the breath to that left hip joint. Notice what's going on there. Be curious. If it does not feel productive, again, if you're holding your breath, if you're gripping, if you're gritting your teeth, come out, reset. Say, I'm listening, body. And then you can progress back into whatever suits you. And then slowly press yourself back up. And this time we come back into a child's pose, knees apart, toes together, hips sitting back towards the heels. And then make sure you have something to rest the forehead or the third eye point on here. Letting the heart soften, letting the shoulders soften. And then feel that pressure on your forehead, whether it's your hands, a block, or all the way on the floor. Feel it melt your face. Extend into the ears, down through the neck. Beautiful. Slowly come up and make your way to seated with the legs out in front. We're going to take one forward fold here. So you might need to sit up on something if it feels like your pelvis is really tilting back, or you could even just use your fingertips behind you, bringing the shoulders on the back, bending the elbows even slightly if you need to, and almost pressing some more length into your spine, bringing that pelvis into a neutral position where your sit bones feel like they're plugging into the earth. This may be your forward fold, coaxing your hip flexors to soften into the earth here, and the thighs to ground. That might be enough. If you want, you could start to tip that heart further forward. You could come into a passive fold with your hands receiving, or you could take hold of something for security. This is where sometimes a tea towel or a belt comes in handy too. You could loop it around the feet and remind yourself to keep those shoulders loose, that heart open even as you're folding. Check out the area between your eyebrows, your jaw, any tension in the back of the throat or deep within the ears. And either come out a little bit or breathe it away. Inhale, come all the way up. We're going to bend both knees and lean back on the hands again. Cross the left ankle over the right thigh. Now, if this is already a lot for the hip, you can just come and do number 4 pose on the back as well. The more space we have between our heart and our shin, the more we'll be able to access that long spine and isolate the hip. And then we could start to walk ourselves further towards that left shin. Wake up those left toes, that left foot, in either one. If you're close enough, you might even be able to cradle that left leg. And if you're cradling it, you don't even need the right leg anymore. You'll notice that that left hip really wants to start coming back. So keep coaxing it in line with the right and keep coaxing that shin to parallel to the ground-ish. Keep the heart open, keep the breath going. And then wherever you are, let that ankle fall back onto the right thigh. Straighten the right leg out in front of you. You might stay here, or you might even take a forward fold from here. The tighter that left hip, the more of a deep tissue massage we're getting at the end of the quad there, with the ankle's weight. And then come all the way up. Release that, give it a shake. One more leg here, bend both knees. Maybe you're coming to your back again. Maybe one side's different from the other. We're not symmetrical beings, really. So honor that. Cross the right ankle over the left thigh. Increase the space between heart and shin, just for now, to wake up that right foot, to isolate that right hip, to press that right knee away. Even when you're on your back, you're doing all of this. And then you decide if you can bring that shin closer in. So you're either walking yourself closer in or drawing that left leg in towards you on your back. If you're close enough, you might be able to cradle the leg again. And if you're doing that, you don't need that left leg. And then we start to watch how we want to sink back and release the stretch. And we say, no, not right now. We're trying to isolate that outer hip and the piriformis, all those tight sitting muscles. And we swing that hip forward a little and coax that shin to stay parallel-ish to the earth. And then wherever you are, you lay that ankle back down. You stretch the left leg out, and you either stay right here, coaxing that right knee towards the earth, or coming to a forward fold. And then slowly release. Give the legs a shake. And start to come all the way down onto your backs. Take a moment here to reset. Bring the feet mat width apart. Let the knees fall in towards each other. Often the body needs to get used to this new position. So let the pelvis settle. Breathe into the low back, the hips. And then walk the feet about hip distance apart. We pick up the hips, bring them over to the left, and let the knees fall to the right. If you need a little bit more in this twist, you can hook that right heel onto the left knee to pin it down towards the earth. You might even stretch that left arm up overhead along the floor. You might even take the left wrist with the right hand and pull it, traction it away to really get this deep fascial stretch from the left knee all the way out through those left fingertips. And then release that. Come back up to center. Reset. Lift the hips up slightly, move them to the right, let the knees fall to the left. You could stay there, letting gravity do its work. You could take the left heel and draw that right knee down. You could take the right arm overhead and give it a little tug with the left. And then slowly release that. Come back up to center. Reset and check in with your body. If it needs anything else before we relax, do so. So maybe a hug, a happy baby, a bridge pose, a twist, or even if it's just rolling around on your floor a little bit. Listen to those cues. Otherwise, you can decide how you'd like to end the practice. Maybe in a traditional shavasana with palms up, legs outstretched. Maybe the lower back is still talking to you loudly, And you need to bring those feet mat width apart again and let the knees fall in towards each other. Maybe you need to come to your side or your front, or even up to a meditative seat. When you close your eyes, tap into the physical body again, the sheath, feeling the earth underneath you, the air on the skin, soft light behind the eyelids, the sounds near or distant. Tap into the inner body. Again with the five senses, noticing the sensations within the heartbeat, the breath, the flow. You're now embodying that person that you envisioned at the beginning of the class. Now we see ourselves in our mind's eye, coming out of class, walking out into the world, our world, whatever that might be, with that glow. Feeling strong and calm. Feeling alive but relaxed. Ready to tackle our day. You can stay here as long as you need to. As long as your schedule allows you. I'm sorry we started a little late today, so we're ending a little late. I'll make sure to check in before I do that again. As you lay here or sit here, let those hopeful, joyful, light feelings permeate you so that they may shine out to whomever you encounter today. And most of all, so that it can feed you for the rest of the day, week, however long you can maintain that. Make sure you thank yourself before the end of the class. And I thank you so much for sharing with me. Namaste.